Good day everyone, I am Lakshmi with of BTLED TV. I'm here today to introduce to you our topic which is the curriculum planning, design, and organization. And also I want to introduce to you the reporters. They are Ma'am Joanna Marie Hipolito, Sir Liabres Luis Jan, and Sir Roy Banate, Ma'am Angeline Roque, Ma'am Jessa Tiburcio, and Ma'am Ella Jane Victoria, and yours truly, Lakshmi Gupta. Elements curriculum design. There are five major components or elements of a curriculum design reflects the nature and the organization of the elements. These are the content subject matter. Second is the teaching and learning methods. Third is the assessment and evaluation behavioral objectives and learning outcomes. And the last one is the references. Aims, goal, and objective. In every school, they have their aims, goals, and objectives. Educational aims are long-term goals. The purpose of this, they want to design a generated level of education by our society. Their aims is to develop system level of education, department, or government document. Was embedded in 1987 Philippines Constitution. All schools shall aim to include first patriotism and nationalism, second foster love of humanity, third promote respect for human rights, fourth appreciate the role of national heroes in the historical development of the country, fifth we have strengthened ethical and spiritual values, development moral, character, and personal discipline. 6. Encourage ethical and creative thinking. 7. Broaden scientific and technological knowledge and promote vocational efficiency. Educational goals like aims are group expectations that can take several weeks, months, or even years to achieve. Goals can be written at several levels, generalization, involving large number of curriculum. Developers such as principals, teachers, subject specialists, trainers and administrators, and others. Education in the framework of educational aims and goals, it is essential to formulate more specific objectives. As stated earlier, aims and goals are long-term while the objectives are short. To fully understand objective, remember the following. First, objective should be clearly specified lesson plan. Objective should be clearly state the intended learning outcomes. Second, objective must also appropriate to determine the appropriateness of the objective curriculum. Developers and educators must reflect on the students' need and more importantly on the content to be included. For the third one, objectives should be arranged logically in order to find out of units of instruction are learned and for the purpose of evaluation.
Example of an institution articulation of aims, goals, and objective. First, we have the NUST vision. NUST is a locally responsive and internationally recognized university of science and technology. NUST mission to develop new knowledge and technologies and transform human resources into productive citizenry to bring about development impact to local and international communities. Objectives: prepare developmentally sequenced lesson plans with well-aligned learning outcomes and competencies based on curriculum requirements. Goals: practice professional and ethical teaching standards to respond to the demands of the local and international communities. Program outcomes: manifest skills in communication, higher order thinking, and use of tools and technology to accelerate learning and teaching. Course outcomes: apply principles and practices of curriculum planning and development operating in schools with emphasis on training methodology. This given example, take note that this is the behavioral objectives or intended learning outcomes for a specific subject cascade from the institution vision and mission, college goals and program outcomes and course outcomes. The formulated objectives or intended learning outcomes will now serve as the starting point of the teacher in designing instruction in the classroom.
Constructive alignment in designing curriculum. Content, subject matter. A curriculum will not be complete without this element. Curriculum content or subject matter refers to the body of knowledge that needs to be taught and skills to be acquired by learners. Second, curriculum takes many forms. To some, this refers to knowledge or compendium of facts, concepts, and generalization, principles, and theories. Third, curriculum content simply means the totality of what is to be taught in the school system. In selecting our content according to Bilbao 2015 reminded us that subject matter should be relevant to the outcomes of the curriculum. An effective curriculum is purposive and focused on the planned learning outcomes. Second, subject matter should be appropriate to the level of the lesson or unit. Third, subject matter should be updated and if possible should reflect current knowledge and concept. Criteria and selection of learning content. First, self-sufficiency. To the content selected helps the learner to attain maximum self-sufficiency in learning but in the most economical manner. Second, significance. Do the content selected contribute to the development of learning abilities, skills, processes, and attitude of the learners? Third is validity. Always check for the authenticity of the content. The content of the subject should be valid. Fourth, interest. The content must be interesting or meaningful to the life of the learner. Fifth, utility. We need to ask ourselves as a future teacher if our content will add meaning to our student's life or if it will develop his human potential or to be a better person. Learnability. Ask ourselves again, is it within the learning range or of the experience of the learners? In ensuring learnability of our content, let us consider the grade and development level of our student. 7. Feasibility. In checking feasibility of content to be selected, can the subject matter be learned within the time allowed? Resources available. Basic principle in the organization of learning content according to Bilbao 2015. The Merriam Dictionary defines the organization as the act of process of putting the different parts of something in a certain order so they can be found or used easily. In the case of curriculum, designing content is organized to ensure ease and efficiency of learning on the part of the students. Effective organization of content will also guarantee that the most learning competencies as stated in the curriculum will be acquired by the students. Consider the following principles in the effective organization content. First, we have the balance. Denotes the equitable fair distribution of content among the different level of instruction. The for distribution consider the number of units and time allotment needed in covering the content per subject area per grading period. Second, articulation means the provision for establishing this vertical linkage from level to level. Take note, also articulation prevents the grading gap between levels. It simply means content learned in the lower level shall lead students to learn content in the next grade year or level. For the third one, sequence means sequential and graded arrangement of subject matter, in this case organization of content. Consider the difficulty and complexity of content to be included. Less difficult content is provided for the lower level while the more difficult and complex ones are included in higher level. Number 4 is the integration. Means that horizontal link is present among the content in all subject matter. Last is continuity, is the constant repetition, review, and the reinforcement of learning. For the last of our topic, the reference. The reference follows the component. It tells where the component or subject matter has been taken. Here are some examples of references.
Teaching and learning method. Teaching and learning method, curriculum experience is the heart and core of the curriculum. Now, how can I say that this is the heart and core of the curriculum? It is because the school or our university cannot exist without a curriculum. Physical experience. The student or the learners needed the physical experience because it's that way they can learn from everyone on their surrounding. And the learnings that they get from it will help them to grow. Mental experience. This is one thing that the student will not lose because all of us are stressed out and pressured in our study. And because of our experience, we overcome stress and pressure. Emotional experience. We all know that the one thing that is hard to control is our emotion. But we can learn from it based on our experience. By that we can control it and it will not be the barrier in our study. Curriculum experience may include all the approach and strategies of teaching so that students may embody and realize everything that is stated in the curriculum, aims, goals, and objectives. In this, we can use our experiences in terms of teaching to motivate students so that they are aware or can relate to our experience that this will help them to achieve their goals. Because sometimes our experience can teach us. Also, here we will know what strategies we will use with students or learners. According to Bilbao et al. 2015, the teaching and learning method should allow cooperation, competition, as well as individualism or independent learning among our students. We have three examples. First, cooperative learning activities. Cooperative learning needed of a student for them to solve every problem and also to learn from in along the way. Second, independent learning activities. This will allow the learners to develop their self or their weaknesses and go discover learning from their own. Discovering their talent and experience that will help them to grow in their own way. Competitive activities. Competitive activities is leading the learners to discover new things with the use of surpassing their boundaries. This will allow the learners to be exposed on the healthy competition with themselves and also to others. Thank you.
Assessment and evaluation. What's the difference? Evaluation are not the same, but what are the difference between an assessment and evaluation in education? This article will describe both of these terms and outline the difference between them. What is an assessment? What's the definition of assessment in education? Assessment is the systematic process of documenting and using empirical data to measure knowledge, skills, attitudes, and beliefs. By taking the assessment, teachers try to improve the students' path towards learning. This is short definition of assessment. And what is evaluation? Evaluation focuses on grades and might reflect classroom components other than course content and mastery level. An evaluation can be used as a final review to gauge the quality of instruction. It's product-oriented. This means that main question is what's been learned. In short, evaluation is judgmental. For example, you're gifted a flower. The flower is purple and is too short with not enough leaves. Evaluation is judgmental. And now the example of assessment. I'll give the flower some water to improve its growth. Assessment increase the quality. The relationship between assessment and evaluation. There are also some similarities between assessment and evaluation. The both require criteria, use measures, and are evidence-driven. In this picture, we see the purpose of assessment and evaluation. The assessment is to increase quality, and the evaluation is to judge quality. The importance of assessment and evaluation is to measure effectiveness. Evaluation adds a value component to the process. A teacher may assess a student to ascertain how well the individual successfully met the learning target.
Good day everyone, I'm Joanna Marie Polto from BTLED 2B. I'm here to discuss to you the tree-centered approach under curriculum design. Child learner-centered approach. This approach to curriculum design is based on the underlying philosophy that the children is the center of the educative process. It means that the curriculum is constructed based on the needs, interests, purposes, and abilities of the learners. The curriculum is also built upon the learner's knowledge, skills, learning, and potentials. From its design, how should a child-centered or learner-centered should be approached? Considerations. A new respect for the child is fundamental. A new freedom of action is provided. The whole activity is divided into units of work. The recognition of the needs for using and exploring many media for self-discovery and self-direction is embraced. Student-centered learning, also known as learner-centered education, broadly encompasses methods of teaching that shifts to the focus of instruction from teacher to the student. A learner-centered approach views learners as active agents. They bring their own knowledge, past experience, education, and ideas, and this impact how they take on board new information and learn. Student-centered learning moves students from passive receivers of information to active participants in their own discovery process. What students learn, how they learn it, and how their learning is assessed are all driven by each individual's, students' needs and abilities. Subject-centered approach. This is anchored on the curriculum design, which prescribes different and separate subjects into one broad field. This approach considers the following. The primary focus is the subject matter. The emphasis is on bits and pieces of information which are detached from life. The continuing pursuit of learning outside the school is not emphasized. Learning should only take place inside the classroom. The subject matter serves as a means of identifying problems in living. Problem-centered approach. This approach is based on a curriculum design which assumes that in the process of living, children experience problems. Thus, problem solving enables the learners to become increasingly able to achieve complete or total development as individuals. This approach is characterized by the following views and beliefs. The learners are capable of directing and guiding themselves in resolving problems, thus they become independent learners. The learners are prepared to assume their civic responsibilities through direct participation in direct activities. The curriculum leads the learners in the recognition of concern and the problems and in seeking solutions. The learners are considered problem solvers. While the three curricular design approaches are distinct from each other, most practitioners, teachers, principals, school managers utilize the three in their design. Each design approach gives the school special character. However, most implementers meld the design in their school. In such a case, it would be difficult to identify distinctly each one specific design.
Approaches and types to curriculum design. These are the three types of curriculum design model. These are subject-centered design, learner-centered design, and problem-centered design. Subject-centered design focuses on the content of the curriculum, mostly to the textbook written for the specific subject, thus this type of design. Discipline design focuses on the academic disciplines. Discipline in the context refers to the specific knowledge. Learner-centered design advocates that the learner should be the center of the educative process. Correlation design comes from a correlated curriculum design that links separate subject designs to reduce fragmentation. Broad field design, it also known as disciplinary design. Experience-centered design is similar to the child-centered design. It proposes that the interests and needs of the learner cannot be pre-planned. Humanistic design, on the other hand, goes on the development of self as the ultimate objective of learning. Problem-centered design goes a more progressive view of the curriculum and has two types, the life situation design and the core design. Life situation design ensures that the contents are organized in ways that allow students to view problem areas.
Good day everyone, I'm Jessa Tiburcia from BTLED 2B. Now, our topic for today is all about curriculum mapping process. Curriculum mapping process by Bilbao 2015. Curriculum mapping is a process for collecting and recording curriculum-related data that identifies core, skills, and content taught, processes employed, and assessment used for each subject area and grade or program level. The complete curriculum map become a tools that helps teacher keep track of what has been taught and plan that will be taught. So let's talk about what is the guide for doing curriculum mapping. Like for example of this, Technological Livelihood Education of Grade 9 Cookery. This is an example of curriculum mapping process. As you can see in the previous picture of Grade 9 Cookery, there are different types of columns. The first one is the number of months. The second one is all about the unit topic content. Next one is the performance standard. Next is competencies skills. And next is assessment and also activities. And next is resources. And lastly is institutional values. Let's talk about the number of months. We all know that every quarter we have 4. First grading, second grading, third grading, and also fourth grading. After the number of months, we have a topic content. Like for example, Chapter 1, Cleaning and Maintaining. This is explain every title of each chapter. Performance standard. This one is explain the application of the students of what he/she learn about in the topic, how he pertain to do with he and she ability and skills. Competencies skills. This is explained of what student skills to identify the tools using in cooking, cleaning, something like that, knowing of labeling the product, and also the proper use of a product. Next is assessment. Simply explain how I can assist a student if he understand the topic. In this assessment, using a worksheet, construct, and labeling, this was easy to assist a student learn about the topic. Also to know more, they have some activities used like recitation or demonstration, and also labeling. Also, to be successful, the teaching I use resources like video clips to know and to have more ideas about the topic. And for the last, institutional values. As a future educator, we are hoping the collaboration and integration of our students. To know them, to understand the topic, they can participate. And that's the curriculum mapping process.
Good day everyone, I am Angeline Glaze A. Roque from Bitalad 2B and I am here to talk about Elementary Science Grade 3. These are some examples of curriculum mapping that refers to the lesson and academic content taught in school. In first and second quarter, we have 5 columns which is content standards, performance standards, learning competency, and learning material. The content example is characteristic of solid, liquid, gases that in teaching will be discussed. In content standards, the learners demonstrate understanding of. Example, in the discussion, it will be tackled about ways of sorting materials and describing them solid, liquid, and gas. Based on observable properties, on this part, you learn the ways of sorting materials. Performance standards. The learner should be able to group common objects found at home and in school according to solid, liquid, and gas. The learner should check the effect of temperature on materials. Learning competency. The learner should be able to describe the different objects based on their characteristic. For example, is shape, weight, volume, and ease of flow. The last one is learning materials. These learning materials are guide in science and health. For example is modules and handouts of materials. The example of curriculum mapping is an important task used to show proper alignment of program goals, course objectives, instructional support materials, formative assessment activities, summative outcome assessment, and finally, the instructional plan. Simply put, it is an creation of map showing the path of both teaching and learning from start to finish.